Hello and welcome to Critical Political Thinking. My name's Corey Camasso, your host, and today we are going to go over the numbers and we are going to go over some of the fallacies and the misconceptions that the media has thrown about. This is going to be a little more of a rant video for me. It's going to be a little less orchestrated than normal. So kick back, relax, and enjoy. And ladies and gentlemen, this is what's going on in America today. My name's Corey Camasso, and welcome to Critical Political Thinking. Hello, and welcome back to Critical Political Thinking. My name's Corey Camasso, your host, and today we're going to be discussing quite a few things about Donald Trump. We're going to be going over some of the details with the numbers that I find a little bit askew, if you will. We're going to go over the media's view on this entire event and how that view has literally spun this entire event into what we have today in America, and how I want to try and bring the numbers to you from a different perspective, try to give you guys a little bit of peace and a little bit of understanding why some people are ready to go back to work and why some people have a different view than you. So hopefully I can bring those things to light for you, give you a better understanding, and kind of settle the fights and settle the peace. We really need peace, and right now there is just so much fighting going on social media. I mean, you always have your social media and your keyboard warriors, but lately it has become an astronomical amount of hate, and it has to stop. And I think some of these numbers, some of these ideas, and some of these perceptions will help you understand where I'm coming from. I'm going to do my best to give you a very unbiased perception of things. My theory on life has always been, I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a Republican. What I am is what is best for this country. And every candidate has its flaws and every candidate has its strengths. And I determine my presidential candidate and my Senate and my, every candidate that I vote for, I determine based on merit rather than party affiliation. And I think that's where a lot of our problems come. I wonder how many of us really even believe some of the things that we fight for, or how many of us are just doing it because that's what our friends or our party affiliation says to. So here are the numbers, and I want you to come into this with an open mind and try and perceive these things for yourself. See if these match what the media is stating, and ask yourself why, if not. We're going to start with the Lysol and the disinfectant situation. First, I want to play the video, because I think that, just in case you haven't seen it, although I'm sure you have, the media has dedicated over 24 hours of online live airtime on mainstream media to this. Way too much, when they could have been focusing on better things, like the SBA and why it's failing small business. But let's go over this first. So we have the Lysol situation, and this is the exact words, and this is the exact situation as presented to us live from the White House press room. So let's go ahead and watch, and I'll come back and we'll discuss.
So I ask Bill a question that probably some of you are thinking of if you're totally into that world, which I find to be very interesting. So supposing we hit the body with a tremendous, whether it's ultraviolet or just very powerful light, and I think you said that hasn't been checked, but you're going to test it. And then I said, supposing you brought the light inside the body, which you can do either through the skin or in some other way. And I think you said you're going to test that too. Sounds interesting. Right, and then I see the disinfectant, where it knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside or almost a cleaning? Because you see it gets in the lungs and it does a tremendous number of the lungs. So it'd be interesting to check that. So that you're going to have to use medical doctors with. But it sounds interesting to me. So we'll see. But the whole concept of the light, the way it kills it in 1 minute, that's pretty powerful. Have done a really terrific job.
All right, so there you have it. That was the uncut, unedited, unspliced together version as the media has presented in so many cases. So they would cut out certain words, they would cut out certain sentences, and then they would edit it to fit their agenda. Well, that's what you had. And the key words that you need to understand what he said were, I believe, my opinion, I find this interesting, this isn't, you have to do this, this is how we're going to survive, you must. None of that was ever stated, and yet the media clearly clearly put headlines on their television scrolls. President suggests injecting bleach. No, that's not what he suggested to do. He suggested that the medical physicians and doctors that are on his coronavirus task force, people that have been dedicated to science and the study of the human body, not him, he's a businessman, he has nothing to do with that. He claims he might know a lot about it, which we all know he probably doesn't. But you have to understand the perception of this man. Everyone hates him. And his job right now is to do everything in his power to make us like him, to think that he is a success. Because right now he is going for re-election, and he realizes that this is a terrible situation, and everything that he has worked so hard to build, including the economy, whether you like it or not, he's done a wonderful job with the economy. The border, you may disagree, but look at unemployment. You don't think there's a direct correlation between unemployment skyrocketing, meaning unemployment no longer has anyone on it, skyrocketing, as in a sense we all have jobs? You don't think that has something to do with the borders becoming a little bit tighter? Really? You don't think that's a coincidence? Come on, guys. You have to come into this with some open minds, but you've got to realize the things he did aren't that bad. Yes, he is a very harsh individual. Yes, he is an ass. I'm going to say it. There's no other word for him. But he's a damn good presidential ass. I hate to say it. Now, do I think he should continue? Do I think he should be the president? That's not for me to decide. What you need to do is take your facts, take what he's done, and compare it to what others are capable of. That's all I'm saying. We don't even know who Biden's presidential or vice presidential nominee will be. We have no idea what to expect, so I can't give you any kind of perception on what I'm going to be doing. Nor do I mean, when we get closer, we'll go over all that. But right now, what I need you to understand is the media has literally taken his previous video that I just showed you and twisted that every which solitary way. And they hung on every single word and twisted it and manipulated it to make it their own agenda. When really all he was doing was suggesting two things that came out on a Department of Homeland Security report earlier in the day. So in the White House Coronavirus Task Force press briefing, before they go into the press room, they have a briefing. And they go over literally upwards of about 100 to 200 different documents, procedures, plans, everything that they've implemented within the last 24 hours. During the day that he made this statement, beforehand, they had released a report discussing how bleach could kill saliva, the coronavirus in saliva. He misinterpreted that, clearly. But his misinterpretation was not any way him jumping the gun, and it wasn't him telling us to do something. What it had actually meant was bleach can kill coronavirus in saliva outside the body on surfaces. That was what the report had stated. You know, that was leaked later on, and they found that, and they realized what was going on. But that's after the media had taken off, stating that he just brought this up out of nowhere. Mr. President Scientist, that's not at all what he was saying. All he was suggesting was, isn't this something we discussed? Isn't that something you're looking into? Great. Move on to the next thing. Then he went into the UV light. UV light therapy is something that they have been going over now for about 8 years. This is not new technology, folks. This is something that they've been utilizing to kill virus and bacteria in hotel rooms and everything for a long period of time now. That was also something that was brought up in that press briefing, and it's something that they discussed to look into and go over. And that's all he suggested. Isn't this something that we can do? Isn't there a way to inject this? Isn't there just, this is brainstorming, folks. This is him doing his best to give the American people hope. That was it. That was all there was to that. Was it a little irresponsible for him to possibly incorrectly word it in a sense? But I don't even think he did. I mean, you just saw the video, but I'm understanding it from other people's perspectives in a sense, and I can't. No common sense way can you. And if you're arguing that fact, please comment below. And you better have a darn good explanation, because there is absolutely no way to counter that. He did not state to inject anything into your body. All he suggested was for medical doctors, physicians, people with the background and knowledge and the information in the situation, to take it into perspective and see if there was any if it held any water. He doesn't know, but he's suggesting what he heard. That's his job in these press briefings, is to go over what he had just heard in the press briefing. That's something that his staff and the staff of the CDC and the WHO and everyone else that's working on it with him in the Corona Task Force, that's all stuff that they all brought up. This isn't stuff that he's just pulling out of his behind. These are things that the physicians and the people that you look up to, Dr. Fauci, Dr. Deborah, those are the people that are going over these things in that room. So it's very difficult for me to understand and to trust a media source that is willing to take something like that when they should be focusing on when a good reporter, somebody with half a brain, in that exact press conference should have stood up and said, "Excuse me, I didn't misunderstand you correctly. Did you mean for them to research something along those lines, or is that referencing something that you're suggesting?" That could have cleared it all up then and there. Would a whole bunch of hack media sources run off with it? I'm sure. Everybody's trying to get viewership these days. But at the same time, was it essential? Was it something that they should have focused that much national airtime? NBC, CBC, like, come on. Really? It's just not right. They are literally hanging on every wrong word that this president has put out there, when all he is trying to do is put out hope. Granted, he may not be doing it the right way, but we're the people that put him there. We voted Donald Trump into office. We elected him into that space. We knew his credentials. We knew he wasn't a physician. We knew he wasn't a military person, but we knew he had the ability to build a strong financial business and a strong financial system. And guess what? Guess what he did? He did exactly what his credentials enabled him to do. And he is doing a fantastic job with that. And now what we have is we have a media that, in an election year nonetheless, had this happened at any other time, I don't know that this whole situation would have panned out as it did. I really don't. And a lot of it has to do with the fallacy and the numbers that they're putting out there. You know, I go into these groups and I see people saying, you know, all you people are so mad there's no baseball. Well, even if you can go see Babe Ruth play and you could bring 100 of your favorite baseball friends, but you knew 2 of them were going to die. Where are you getting 2 people out of 100 are going to die? Are you kidding me? Is that what you're getting out of the media? Because if it is, they're failing you. If you found 2% out of any of these numbers that they brought to you, then you're not doing your research. Let me do the numbers for you, because I want to give you the factual percentages, because they're giving you such incorrect percentages based on numbers that they can, because that's the numbers that they're distributing, but they're wrong, and let me explain why. And you're going to agree, and that's the sad part. And if you don't, I'm sorry, but common sense may not be there. So here's what we have. Even the smartest, all right, so we have, let's start in the beginning. We have 320,000 people in my county, Luzerne County. 317,000, but for easy math's sake, we're going to say 320,000, okay? 320,000 people in Luzerne County. Now, this is one of the more heavily ravished areas within the 13 to 10 county health regions that Governor Wolf has implemented. We are one of the higher counties in Luzerne County. Right now, we have 2,000 confirmed cases. 2,000 confirmed cases out of 317,000 residents in Luzerne County. Now, right now they're saying out of those 2,000, there's 67 deaths. That's about 2%. So I get where people are getting the 2%. Out of the people that have tested positive for the coronavirus, 2% are dying. Great. But that's not a number. That's a fake number. And let me explain why. Even though these are the numbers the media is giving you, this is why they're fake. Ready? Even the smartest of scientists are saying that there is around 2 times to 3 times the amount of people that have tested positive, that have already had or have the virus, that are asymptomatic, or have such weak symptoms that they don't even know or don't care or aren't really following through. So let's add that in there. So you say we have 2,000, and 2 times that, in addition, had or have the virus. That brings our count now to 6,000. So 6,000 people have had or had the virus, okay? You have 6,000 people with the virus in Luzerne County. Now, 67 have passed away. That's 1%. Slightly over 1% of the people with the virus. But in this entire county, only 6,000 of 320,000 have caught the virus. So you're telling me that one in every 50 people have caught the virus, and only 1% of them have passed away. So to all you people saying that 2% or 2 out of every 100 people are dying, you're way off. 1 out of 50, and then 1%. 1% out of 1 out of every 50. Do you understand what I'm saying? 1% of the population out of 50 that have caught it. That's insane. That's insane. So 67 out of 320,000 residents. Did you know that 150,000 people passed away last year from, I'm not sure if it's last year, but from the Luzerne County Corona, or from the coroner's office, the last year that they reported it, and there was no year at the top, and I do apologize, but it is a recent year, within the last 2 or 3. 160 overdose deaths. 160 overdose deaths. That's over 2 times the amount of coronavirus deaths. Even if this is the peak, and we go down from here and we double the amount we have, which they're saying is not going to happen, but if we double the amount we have, 130, let's go 130 people passed away from the coronavirus. That's still 20 less than the people that passed away from drugs last year. And we shut down our entire economy, and we're not reopening it, according to Governor Wolf now, until fully December, if not later. Because remember, in order for us to get to and this is in Pennsylvania, I do apologize. I'm referring everything here to Pennsylvania because that's where I'm from, but every state has their own thing, and every state has their own problems. Right now, I'm just giving you an example out of Luzerne County, and that's a higher region. Now, granted, we're not New York City. We're not that populous. We're a bigger city for what we are, but we are nowhere near the size of New York City. But we do have an extremely high count, and it's extremely high because of one city out of Hazleton, a whole nother story. But what I'm getting at is 1 out of every 50 people walking down the street will catch the virus. And out of those 1 out of 50 people, only 1% of them will pass away from the virus. More people die in car crashes every year, but yet this is somehow the end of the world. But you know what is going to be the end of the world? The businesses, the small businesses, because nobody's getting the loans they needed. Nobody's getting the help they needed. And even if you do get the help, it's for 2.5 months. And yet this new plan, let me explain Pennsylvania's plan really quick, just in case, just so you understand what's going on in one of the states in this country. This is the United States right now. We can't go to yellow phase, which means that we can have events with up to 50 people, and restaurants still cannot have sit-down dinners. Okay? And there's a whole bunch of other stuff, but those are the 2 primaries. Nobody up to 50, 50 or less, and then from there, no dine-in restaurant, takeout and delivery only still. And we can't even get to that phase until for 14 days straight, there are less than 50 new cases of COVID within a 13-county region. 13 county. That's not, I just gave you the stats for Luzerne County. He's saying that for 14 days straight, we have to have less than 50 new cases of COVID within that 13-county region. Keeping in mind, within 1 month, we had 2002 in this county. It's only going to go down from here. But I don't see that happening, at least to start the clock for another 3 weeks to a month and a half. So that brings us to mid-June, starting of July. Then from there, it has to go down to, I don't even know, 5 or 10, I believe, to get to the green phase, and we can finally sit down at a restaurant and have a meal again. But that's not going to happen until November or December. So all these small business restaurants, all the DJs, all the photographers that have weddings and photographers might make it, the DJs with events, the venues that have parties, casinos, movie theaters, smaller theaters, theater groups, concert halls, all of these things will probably not financially make it as far as they're demanding us to do so. all for 1% out of 1 out of 50. So can't you understand the frustration of people? And when so many people are saying, aren't you being selfish? You're being selfish. Is that really? I mean, everyone can say yes, but it's not even worth one human life. But you can't stop the entire world for one human life, because here's what's going to happen. Everyone loses their business. People are going to be committing suicide. Mental health is going to go through the roof. There's not going to be any health care for the people that actually need it when we actually need it. No mental health care. Come on. On top of that, you have people with no jobs. Unemployment's only going to be able to carry us so far. We don't have the financial backings to fund us that far into the future. Do you know how many people are going to die out of just sheer hunger? Aren't you people doing that math? Because let me tell you, those numbers are way higher. You have no idea what we're in for. And you're sitting back letting it happen. And I'm not saying it's your fault. I blame the media. They have twisted that number to 2% for so many people, when it's not even like 0.001%. Like, come on, people, we have to be smarter than this. You know, everyone's saying he didn't act soon enough. He put a ban on China as soon as it happened. China didn't give the world the information. There's a reason the rest of the world is in the same boat. It's the information we were given. One man isn't a Superman. He's not the hero. He's the President of the United States. He's the man that we put there. And he can only give us the information that's given to him. We need to start understanding that unless we start working together and stop trying to find out who's on what side and fighting over those situations, and realize that these are the numbers, not what the media is saying. The heck with the media. Turn the media off. Turn the news off. I'm not saying stop paying attention to what's going on, because that can be unhealthy as well. But what I'm saying is get your media from the right places. Follow the people you trust, and stop listening to the things you want to hear for some godforsaken reason, and start following the things you need to hear, like how are we going to get the help we need? How are we going to communicate with unemployment? These are the things that the media needs to focus on, and stop worrying about what Donald Trump is doing, because all he's doing is passing along the information from the people that we put in those offices as well. You know, everyone keeps saying the federal government didn't do enough. The federal government should have put all this in place. What about the governors? What about our state representatives? When we elect these people, technically, I mean, yes, they go to the office, they do this, they do that, but what do they really do? I mean, yes, there's a huge list, and they do a lot of good. I'm not saying they don't do anything. But when push comes to shove, these are the things that matter, and they're not in place. There should have been an emergency prepared plan in place for a pandemic. And the representatives should have passed that up to the higher and the higher and higher, all the way up to the top. And what should have happened is they should have had counts of everything. And they should have taken the census data and combined that with the counts and see what was short, see what could have been needed places, and have done these predictions and map out these happenings and find out the situations that could have occurred. Because let me tell you something, had those representatives initiated it, a president would have jumped right on. Why not? You're making his job substantially easier. And his job isn't to do those things. His job is simply to coordinate. And he could have initiated that as well. But there's not one person to blame. That's my point. Everywhere around needs to stop blaming and work together to fix the problems. Fix what they stopped doing a long time ago. But right now, I mean, this is wrong. It's wrong. So many people are, literally irate at a president. So many people are fighting over their party affiliations, and we're failing to realize where the real problems lie. The SBA is failing miserably. They haven't provided literally a tenth of the proper businesses the funding that our representatives, our president, our Senate, our House, everybody put into place for us. They didn't do it that way. And why? Because they didn't have the manpower. But there's so many federal businesses and so many offices that are closed. Why can't we utilize those people to input data? At least input data. They can do this from their homes. Transfer the data to these people. They're already security clearanced. Why are we not utilizing these people to access our information and assist us? The unemployment systems are so overwhelmed, they're antiquated, and they're literally failing. And it's not even that they're failing. We were in a great place. But they still shouldn't have let that down. They stop funding things when things are going well, and they fail to realize the need may be there. They're emergency funds. They're putting trillions and trillions of dollars into business, but it's going to the wrong places. These businesses have outlets. These businesses already have the credit scores and the abilities to go to a private lender and get assistance. So what if the rates are a little bit higher? They're capable of providing those rates, whereas now the smaller business that can't get those loans has nothing. They're not going to remain open. These are the people that are going to be dying. These are the people that have nothing. These are the people we need to start focusing on. We need to realize there are all sides to this situation. This is not just about a virus anymore. This is about our economy. This is about our future. This is about our businesses. This is about our lives. This is about everything we've done to build to this point. And we're about to lose it all over separating over the silliest of things. No one ever said to inject bleach. No one ever said to go and take hydrochloroquine. All he said is we're in testing phases. They're going through it. Talk to your physician. Talk to your PCP. Those are the people that need to understand the human body, not Donald Trump. Stop having no common sense whatsoever and taking health advice from the president. He's not giving health advice. He's suggesting to health officials what you need, what they can possibly do. Why is it that you focus on the wrong things? Why is it the media constantly needs to bicker and put down people when we need to work together? I just don't get it, ladies and gentlemen. I just don't get it. I gave you the numbers. 1 out of 50, 1%. That's an average. If you take that and put that against numbers and add them together, I've done the math. My county is literally the average county. And that's where we're at. 1 out of every 50 people, 1% of them will pass from the virus. But more people die from car accidents. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Ladies and gentlemen, we can do this. But we need to understand there are so many people that are hurting from this. And there's so many things that we need to actually focus on and fix. We can't wait till December to reopen businesses. You don't have to go. That's what makes America great. If you're comfortable doing what you're doing now and this is what you need to do to feel safe, then do it. Unemployment will be there for you. We understand. But some of us want to save our businesses. Some of us want to save the one thing that we love, the one thing we work towards. You have to understand we're American. We have the right to freedoms. We have the right to choices. No one is saying you need to do what you have to do. But you can't tell us either. You can't tell someone something and then on the other hand expect them to do the same. It just doesn't work that way. This is America. We are built on freedom. You got to let freedom reign. I'm telling you, people. This world will not make it. We will not make it. I promise you that. They can't keep sending stimulus checks. They're not going to be there forever. The PPP loan only covers 2.5 months. That's your limit. That's where we're at. I'm telling you, America. I'm telling you. The death toll on the other end will be so much higher. So much higher. I know it. My name's Corey Camasso. I really appreciate you watching Critical Political Thinking. Please make sure you add us. Please make sure you subscribe. I'm trying my best in this time. Obviously, my DJ business is closed. I've been doing this, before the coronavirus, obviously, but now I need it more than ever. We really need to work together. Let's do this, America. We're better than this. We can't let the media pull us apart. We can't. We have to put it back together. My name's Corey Camasso. Thank you for watching Critical Political Thinking. Stay safe, America.